Ah.
Okay, we are going to go ahead and switch you guys over at this point. You can, of course, follow all the actions on our other BTS streams, but we're going to switch you over to the Faceless TnC game, which is our featured game, as Fnatic will pick up that Bounty Hunter with their third pick. But this draft coming up is going to be our featured match, and I'm really looking forward to this one. You guys, I was a little bit surprised. I like Faceless's chances a lot. I don't know that I'm quite as high on them as you two are, but I think this is going to be a good metric for them because TnC, again, we talked about different roster, but they're still a very good team.
Yeah, and they're also, I think the big thing I like about Faceless is they are a very veteran squad. Like pretty much all these players have been to Valve events, played at TIs or majors, and have a lot of experience in clutch moments on the big stage. They've also been training pretty hard together. I don't know if you got to catch the little short video featuring Ice Ice Ice, but if they don't win, they don't eat. So they have a lot on the line, a lot more than most of these teams. And with that said, Ogre McGee to start things off. So Shadow Demon is getting through. Definitely, we've seen Faceless running those illusion heroes for Black, the anti-mage, the Morphling at times.
I should mention, because we talked about Warlock earlier in the solo mid role, but Lumi mentioned him in the support role paired with an Earth Spirit. Nuts is support Warlock.
Yep.
I really, really like the way he plays that hero. He doesn't necessarily always go for the Hand of Midas. He builds it often as a utility hero as well, and more traditional support, and I really like his presence around the map.
I mean, if you remember Nuts back in 2 TIs ago, TI5, he would just play a Witch Doctor that somehow gets enough farm to get an axe. And it's very similar, the way that how he plays Warlock. He doesn't go for the greedy. He still buys the wards, but he ends up with refresher eggs somewhere down the line.
Yeah, if you get a Midas at some point, you will go nuts and have that. So Silencer now picked up.
And there's the Warlock.
Good call, Alan.
Yeah, it could be. Well, it could be either a mid or support, but from Faceless, you expect.
We are a bit ahead compared to the previous screen, so maybe we'll go with that one. Spoiler alert: there is a Warlock.
There is going to be a Warlock picked up. Yes.
We're from the future, guys.
Yeah.
God, you're so smart. He did actually call it before it came out on our screen, though. In fairness, credit where credit's due.
What's the rationale for the second?
Very interesting.
Were they kind of expecting this Warlock pick? And Faceless just went ahead and did it anyway, because that Silencer second pick just seems.
Yeah, so Silencer has been the go-to quote-unquote counter to the Warlock pick, because the whole idea behind the Warlock is you jump him, he saves his team, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then now you jump him, you get the global out, you get the quick kill on Warlock, then you start to corral. It's like same thing as playing against an Oracle, a Shadow Demon. You want to kill that backup support first. The global allows you to do so. And then you run crazy with your slaughter pick.
Or even in the case of Warlock, if he drops the ult too early, you global, and now he's wasted his ult. You've wasted yours, and you kind of reset. So.
And he's also a pretty strong laning presence. He's not as susceptible as a lot of the other heroes at just getting straight bullied out of lane by an ogre.
Yeah, interesting. Faceless banning the PA. It is a good kind of chasing and diving hero. Pretty decent synergy with Slardar. We saw that Coddle PA gimmicky duo being experimented a bit with the chakra magic giving you the double dagger.
Who did that? Sorry, I just got here.
That was about no, this was like what, a month or two ago.
Oh,
that was really
okay. You're
being
talking about.
spammed a lot.
Got it. Yeah, that's the thing though.
It didn't really feel that strong to me.
I wonder whether or not PA is going to end up being pretty severely hurt by the range nerf early on, because she's as a mid. Like I'm wondering whether QO mid PA is still a thing. Like with 550 range on that dagger at level 1.
I think even as a mid, she gains quickly enough levels to get up to that threshold to kind of prevent that. No more support PA, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because that nerf on the ranges, you're done.
I don't think I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah.
So with the Warlock pick, like it is an open question. Do they run it? Like they still have that option to run it mid.
They have never run it mid. So
they could run it support. The Ogre really frees things up because he can be like the Earth Spirit type hero, run around, try to win the lanes, waste the enemy support's time, block their camps, secure your off lanes, early farm and levels, which I guess leads me to my next question is, what is Ice 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 going to be playing this game?
His temper is gone. There's things like Sand King. Tie Hunter is one of his go-to favorites when these heroes are removed. He played a Nyx last game. I feel like it's more of you scope out what their safe lane is like. You go with the hero that does not get shut out completely. Because the one thing that Ice 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 does not do is he doesn't duck into the jungle and do that Iron Talon recovery. He's a man. He will come back. He'll fight you in the lane.
For better or for worse.
For
right?
better or for worse, yeah.
He's had some brutal Broodmother games, but then again, that hero still can die 5 times in lane and still take your tier 2 tower.
So a Lifestealer ban.
Mostly,
the meta in SEA is just so different to me.
I mean, you see the slaughter, right? So Lifestealer slaughter combination has
great
been
combo.
Done to death. So take it out.
Yeah, and I think that could have been effective because they're not particularly mobile here right now on the Faceless draft. 2 very clunky, slow supports. Yeah, you have Bloodlust, but that's not enough to make up for a total lack of move speed enhancement otherwise. So.
Oh, I said Bloodlust earlier when I said they were buffing up a TA. What's that
Bloodseeker? Blood Rage.
Blood
Rage. I think is what you meant. I think everybody knew what you meant, dude.
I'm sure someone is like, yeah, I was saying that 10 minutes ago, Lumi.
Yeah.
You bum.
My bad.
I'm sure nobody even remembers. Venge is the pick, so bit of a physical damage strat developing here. That is.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
this used to be all the rage.
We used to see
the
Black Dodo,
the drow,
minus armor,
the visage, just like go all in on. Well, they probably wouldn't get the
I would give money
point.
right now to see a Shadow Fiend mid. Like, can we just get that? How long ago?
I like Requiem against team fight lineups. Like, you don't know if Faceless is going that route, but let's say they double down on the golems.
I actually don't think Shadow Fiend is that bad, but
well,
VP was running him as well.
Oh, okay.
You got Global plus Requiem. Bang, that's team
perfect setup for the Requiem because they don't know what to do if they can't communicate, so they're just going to stand there and wait to die.
You got to put some of your cards on the table right now as Faceless, though. Okay, there's your Ice Tidehunter. That's
into a
no surprise.
Silencer. This is just a Silencer field day right now.
You got Kraken.
Yeah, but you just ignore him. You just global and just say, hey, buddy.
Well, here's the thing. That team is so tanky, and we're moving past the previous screen again. Look, you have so much sustain, right? Warlock heals for over 500 with Shadow Word.
We should just, I should just put the stream up on this screen. Stop being lazy and frustrating everybody.
You got Mech on Tidehunter. He's gonna just walk in there tank.
Yeah,
Ogre could be tanky.
At some point, he'll probably get Greaves as well, and then you have a solution. So, it's still for me like TnC. They could really commit to just like a very gank heavy lineup with the Slardar. The Venge, they could go back for some more team fight of their own. You mentioned the mid Shadow Fiend. That's definitely here. They can offer a lot there. There's what's good against Tidehunter in the off lane. Like in the good old days, it would be Gyro. Not a very strong hero right now, but they go Morph lane. So hey, against heavy team fight, immobile, clunky heroes, just play keep away.
Yeah, I think what you were saying earlier about mobility now becomes a much bigger concern with the Morphling pick. They have the big team fight ultimates to lock him down, but they don't. Ogre with the very, very short cast range on Fire Blast, it almost becomes an unreliable stun against a Morphling.
Yeah, if you're going to run like a super heavy team fight lineup like this and you don't have the tools to catch a split pusher like Morphling, you have to be able to take towers quickly. And right now, on top of their lack of mobility, Faceless, they don't take towers really at all. Like you can drop the rock, that's okay, but at most you're going to get a tier 1, and that's really only the early game. So
there's the
counter to the split push.
Your Black Tinker. Okay.
Is it Black who plays it, or is it Jabs?
Jabs has been always playing mid, so I
assume
it's
okay,
him.
Okay. So wait a minute. So they're not running when they pick Invoker. Is Black playing at mid?
Jabs plays Invoker mid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. All right. So I obviously haven't gotten to watch too much of this team.
That's all right. This weekend will be a learning session for us both. I haven't actually seen his Tinker either. So
I mean, that's been true of pretty much all the teams that Black's been on for the last couple of years. Is he's taken over the mid when it's the really, really farm-intensive heroes.
Man, there was one game I remember. It was like right before he got booted from Vici Gaming, and he was playing Invoker mid, and it was.
Oh my God.
I think it was after that like news that the team was planning on kicking him, and they denied it, or he denied it, or something. But everyone kind of thought it was coming.
He had one.
That was like the worst Invoker game I've ever seen from the poor guy.
You went completely in the other direction. I thought you were going to talk about. He had one of the best Invoker performances I've ever seen at ESL1 New York. He absolutely destroyed Lotus terribly.
This was after that.
Yeah, this was like around DAC. I think
it was like
about.
February the next year, right before that he got the boot. But so for now, assuming it's a Jabs Tinker, that would leave them needing a safe laner. Regardless, I guess needing a safe laner.
AM's still in the pool. You know what Black is doing right now, right?
This is
not
a hard
good
lineup.
AM. It's
Yeah,
a horrible
hard
AM.
AM Tinker is.
Yeah, it's really. I actually
He's
would,
terrible against Slardar, terrible against Venge.
I'd actually kind of like to see an Ursa just for that reliable physical damage output.
Something like Ursa, Axe, like an aggressive, like tempo control. They're not really good at taking Roche though, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you were saying this earlier, guys. I
They
don't know
like
that
the
I'm
hard
sold
farmers
on.
for black.
I don't know that I'm sold on Black Slark. I don't know. I like him on so many heroes. Slark is not a hero that I've seen him play as much.
I don't think this is an easy game to play Slark too, right? You get jumped by Slaughter, you get global, you're dead. So it's a tough one, but I think maybe they're okay with that because you have so much backup. You have the Tide and Warlock, right?
Oh boy.
It's a farm game.
This is a solo mid Cuckoo Alchemist, it looks like. So
It's a farm game, but boy, I really do. I like this draft out of the Radiant side a little bit more. I gotta say, they have the Alchemist kind of almost generates his own space with Grievel's Greed from time to time.
it's so hard to find a good fight with Ravage and the Rock here. Like you drop either of them, Global can counter it. You can swap that hero out.
Right.
Morphling late game will have plenty of ways to get out of the fights, and you're unlikely to burst him. Alchemist is extremely tanky. Slardar, it doesn't really matter that much if you kill him, and he's still fairly difficult to bring down. So for me, those first couple ults from Faceless are huge for dictating the amount of farm Slark and Tinker will get on the map, and I'm not sure it's easy to find those fights.
Yeah. Also, you don't have push on this lineup. You have to win those fights to get the push.
Hey, you have a bloodlusted Slark, Lumi. Okay.
Not
no,
blood
they don't
rage.
have good
Not
push.
blood rage.
Yo, I need to run back to my computer.
I thought you were correcting me for did I say it wrong too?
No, I said it
No,
wrong
no.
first. Yeah.
All right. So with that, guys, we're gonna hand it off to our ever lovely casters here. We've got Lyrical and Draskell holding it down. They'll bring you the rest of Faceless versus TnC.
Get ready to hop into this game. It's TnC facing off against Faceless in the second match of the Southeast Asian Qualifiers. And I do believe that this is TnC's first game, but Faceless did just win another one in their previous set, and I believe that was against Warriors Gaming Unity. So coming into this feeling very good. We'll see how they end up doing in the match. I'm actually going to take out the predictions because they were showing up all last game, and those getting kind of annoying to look at. But the last pick, Alchemist, we didn't get a ton of time to talk about it. Do you think this is a good out game?
It's all right, mainly because Faceless don't have a tremendous amount of burst. So playing against these types of lineups, you know, the Alchemist is going to hit this really strong timing, and they need a hero that can frontline and hit buildings. And Alchemist kind of, you know, he fits that criteria. So normally, if you're playing against Tinker, there's a couple of ways to deal with him. You pick like the Zeus Spectre, stuff like that can scout him out and kill him. Storm, for example, which is Faceless last ban, I believe. And then you pick off the Tinker and you push. Well, their team can't really do that unless MH gets a blink and they manage to find him, which is much, much harder because you don't actually have the vision all the time. So the other way is have a hero that hits his timing super early, like Alchemist, be unbelievably tanky, and just go up and siege little bits at a time, similar to what we saw Fnatic do when we were casting them earlier. And eventually you just whittle the tower down.
All right, well, we'll see if they're going to be able to make it happen, as Jabs and XY are going to be moving in towards that mid lane, blocking it out, and we'll see where that Ogre decides to go. As far as rotations happen in this early game as we move into it, do you think that there's kill potential in any of these lanes, or is it mainly just going to be a battle of trying to whittle away the regen that everybody has?
I think the mid players are the only ones that have potential to die here.
Okay. Well,
Like, if Sam H dies, it's because he made a huge misplay.
he actually, wow, is dropping really low. Does he have another Shadow Word? He is, just going to get fogged away. So Nut's almost able to get it, but showing how much harassment potential you have with that hero.
Yeah. Warlock's base damage is still pretty respectable even with almost no stat items. And the other thing, too, is Sam H came to lane. I don't know why he bought a Windlace and not a Stout Shield. Like, he just got punched to death by a freaking Warlock. He's got a TP. He'll be fine. Even if he gets jumped by Black, he just TPs back to the tower.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eyes on that out of the corner of our eye. Meanwhile, Teehee has been doing a pretty good job of harassing the Ice Tidehunter, and it does feel like, at least through the early couple of waves, they're having a decent time on Faceless. I mean, everybody's getting their CS that they want, and top lane, they are going to force out that TP away from Sam H. It's a rough lane for him.
Yeah, it's not the best, but, you know, you do what you can. Warlock is still a pretty reasonable lane support, even though he's kind of, maybe not exclusive to the C region. Yeah.
What is going on here? How come it's diving somewhat behind the tier 1 tower, but Yeah, it's just a little bit more damage being thrown out there. And you mentioned it. Ice, ice, ice. First blood. Cass takes it.
That was a bit over-aggressive from Ice Ice Ice. But I mean, he even had a ward. How did he die?
That is a good question. I think that just comes down to a plain and simple misplay.
Yeah, it definitely was. Because, you know, sometimes you sacrifice deaths for, like, if the wave was pushing, for example, because they go on you, then that's a death you're okay taking as an offlaner. This bench could be in some trouble. That looks like Ogre is not going to continue pursuit. But yeah, a lot of the times when you're playing offlane on these tanky heroes, you can get like this sense of, oh, I'm unkillable.
Speaking of tanky heroes, they're still kind of creating a lot of trouble down here bottom. They were almost diving both of the supports, and this is kind of what I was talking about before, where you have this lineup where you get very aggressive in the Ogre and the Tidehunter, try and help them through those first couple of levels. But now it looks like Ogre is going to keep on being that sort of nomadic position 4, who's, I guess, more of a position 1, not really getting a whole lot out of the laning stage, but Faceless just dominating the CS early.
Yeah, the real issue that they're having is, like, Tinker is such a good laner, and Alchemist is, you know, he's alright against some heroes, but when you're playing against Laser is just like the great equalizer. And the thing, too, is, like, Jabs is balancing his lane. He's not going for heavy push. A lot of these mids, they'll push the lane into you because they want to try to either do a jungle stack or, you know, they want to make sure they're not getting ganked. But Jabs realizes that the rotation potential on the side of TnC is not really that high. They have to commit 2 supports just to make sure that Rior is getting farm, right?
Yeah.
And if they rotate, it's going to be super freaking obvious. He might be dead.
Jabs just running at him. Nicely played. Again, maybe a little bit of a misplay going on. Some nerves amongst these players showing.
Yeah, it's very common for... Oh, actually, I might have to hold that thought. Nice, nice, nice.
Bottom lane in some trouble. They do get out the stun. Waveform is available. They're going to chase him down. And, well, can they find the kill? Teehee, they just don't do quite enough damage. Although XY will also take a beating on his way back out.
Yeah, but that solo death is... You can't really allow those things to happen. A lot of Tinker players save their skill points. They don't put points into March until a bit later. A lot of people delay rearm just so they have the burst potential. If that kill opportunity shows itself, you just want to always be prepared. But yeah, the death is really, really bad because that just propels the Tinker into an even better spot.
Well, maybe they can make something else happen here. And Invis Sam H is going to move in and wait for his moment. They ping out the courier, but don't really get into a position where they're going to be able to find that kill. And they might start thinking about trading farm. They have the rotation in from Cast. Jabs dropping low, and that is going to be a kill. They find the return against Cast with XY moving in, but I guess that's the best you could hope for with the Invis rune.
That was a super good reaction, yeah, by the Tinker. He was dead 100% as soon as he was the acid spray came down. And then he just guarantees that they're at least going to make a trade, and he's not going to die for nothing. The real issue is even with Ice 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 dying, you know, you look at TnC's farm rate on this Morphling, and it is not doing it. He's like half the CS of Black at the moment because Black doesn't even have a freaking enemy hero in his lane.
Black has has the same amount of denies as Morphling has CS. That's how you know your lane is having a bit of a tough time. Yeah, Ice Ice, like you're saying, playing this off lane really, really well. So how do you react to this as TnC? Do you need to start trying to like make moves, or is it just inherent that they're too greedy early?
They are very greedy. I mean, they need Sam H to get Blink. Okay, he just sprinted into a full creep wave. That was awkward. But yeah, they need him to get Blink in order to really make moves. Like that Invis rune was just super fortunate that it was there. Because no Invis, no kill. Even a haste would have been a much lower likelihood for Jabs to go down there. But, you know, they got a little bit lucky. Even with that luck, they're still obviously falling behind in the lanes. Like, for crying out loud, their Alchemist is only 1 CS ahead of Ice Ice Ice.
Oh my god, and they are literally diving in between the towers, and there's just nothing the TnC can do to this. They are bullying Sam H out of his lane and back behind the towers. 3 heroes here, and they might just be able to, I don't know if they can take it, but they can at least do some damage.
Yeah, this is the kind of pressure you can apply when the supports are a Silencer and Avenge. They just really don't offer that much in the way of early game skirmishes.
God. He's trying to TP out of there. Oh, just barely off the mark with that Fire Blast. Might have been able to get it, but they are going to have to be backing out.
Ogre cast point. That's a Bible thump moment right there for Ogre players.
Well, the early stage already up to about a 1,200 gold lead just off of the the CS advantage and a 2,500 almost experience lead. How crippling is this to the middle game? Can TnC still like fight back from this type of a deficit early? Is it just about trying to wait out the laning stage?
Well, waiting is like, it's a double-edged sword because you kind of need to wait in a way for your Slardar to get his core item, for your cores on the like the Alchemist and the Morphling to get their farm. Is this Venge dead? This Venge might be dead. Oh, they lost vision. Okay, so yeah, in regards to what their game plan needs to be, the Slardar just needs a blink. Like, it needs to happen. If he doesn't have a blink, they don't have any way of like pressuring. Like, look at how aggressive this Ogre is. He's just walking around. He's like, yeah, come at me, bro. I'll soak your EXP. I don't give a crap.
Oh, yeah, it's a hard life indeed. I mean, Cuckoo here, he's trying to farm up to his heart's content, but Ogre is literally just running at him and hitting him with a big old club. This is, it feels like TnC just can't do anything in this game. Like, Faceless are doing whatever they want, and up top, they're running the courier back behind the tower. They don't care.
Yeah, the supports just can't do much. That's really the biggest issue. Like, the synergy between the heroes doesn't exist on the support side. Like, a lot of time, you know, like going back to TI, you saw Shadow Demon, Kunkka, you know, any kind of stun, Mirana, Shadow Demon, stuff like that. Because the heroes could actually score kills. And the only way that those two supports score kills is if they're with another hero that has a nuke. Well, Alchemist doesn't have a nuke. And the Slardar has one, but he needs to be able to close the gap in order to abuse that. So the only hero they can really synergize with is the Morph. And that's how they got the kill on Ice Ice Ice. But that only happened one time. And now he's almost level 8 at 8 minutes into the game. And he's got more CS than the freaking Morphling.
Oh my god. Yeah, when it rains, it pours. Now, T-He gonna get chased down as well, and I mean, it's just feeling like they can really do whatever they want, and Tinker has bots.
Oh boy.
Oh man, 8 minutes, 40 seconds bots, and T-He is gonna be able to dodge away from that gank, but we're gonna try and move away, switches over to strength form. They escape the gank that comes their way.
I mean, escaping the gank is nice and everything, but you're still not, like, you're not asserting your presence on the map. Dota's not a game where you really want to sit back and do nothing. You want to be able to force the enemy team to react in some way. And sometimes that's just having better late game and saying, okay, if you don't stop us from farming, we're going to get out of control. Like, that's a way of forcing the enemy team to do something. Another way is, okay, well, we're pushing your tower. Now you need to make a choice. Do you defend the tower or do you do something else? I don't think TnC's team can really do any of that. Like, they can farm, sure, but the Morphling's not farming that well. The Alchemist is, like, he's kind of getting there, you know. He's got his armor, he's got 1,000 gold. It's 9 minutes in, so I guess he's the one, you know, Cuckoo is going to be the guy they have to watch out for if you're Faceless right now.
And I guess this just means making it a priority to take him down in a team fight. It feels like they have a lot of the tools they need to deal with the Alchemist if they have this level of farm. I mean, they have burst damage from jabs. He's already level 9 at this point. We talked about it. Boots of Travel online. And it does feel like he can really start, you know, making his presence felt in a similar type of way. But the movement forward, Smoke Gank is going to be revealed. Going to be able to catch the kill, potentially. Although as they pull him back in, Ravage gets popped onto 3. And I don't know if they have the follow-up that they need to make that work, unfortunately. Black rotates in, is going to be able to find the kill on the cast. Meanwhile, XY chasing down T-He. They are going to try and go for the deny or just run away.
He doesn't have a TP.
All right. You don't want to lose the... What are they doing with the courier?
It's a bait. It takes like 4 hits for him to kill that thing. They're just doing it for vision.
That's pretty awesome. Well, T-He is going to make the longest run in the world, but it is eventually going to run into Ice Ice Ice, and the Tidehunter finds the kill.
I mean, it's a 2-for-1 at the end of the day. 2 supports for a Tinker. In the circumstance that TnC are currently in, I would actually say that it's probably fine. Because they stop the Tinker from getting, you know, a little bit more farm. If they can delay jabs, you know, that's more than you can even expect out of them at this point. I guess the guy that we're keeping our eye on besides Cuckoo is just going to be Sam H. You know, how close is he to his blink? You know, when he gets his blink, how much can he do with it? I'm just going to say this right now. This Slardar better have, like, the best game of his freaking life. Like, as soon as he gets that blink, he needs, like, 4 5-man stuns.
He did play a really great Slardar consistently when we saw them at TI. He was a huge part of that lineup that obviously made it, I believe it was top 8 as well. I can't remember exactly what their placement was, but it did exceptionally well. And he was one of the returning members of that crew.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like then Faceless need to take this? We've talked a lot about how right now they're kind of dominating the game and being able to get whatever they want. How do you translate that into actually taking objectives? What's the big role here that they need to play?
Well, I mean, they can just do what they're doing right now, which is run at you.
Okay.
Like, what is their counterplay on TnC to being ran at? Because right now it doesn't really seem like they have one. Shavs could be in some trouble, though.
Well, they're on top of him. They drop the Warlock ulti onto Teehee. Cuckoo there as well, in some trouble. And oh man, Sam H gets the counter initiation, but that hurts.
Yeah, there should be a tower as well because they have the golem out. There's some pretty decent warning out here from TnC, though. They see a lot of what's happening. The actual issue stems from the fact that they're not going to be able to deal with the March and golems, so they might just end up sacking the tier 1, I guess.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this to me, too, is we do see the sack of that tier 1, like you were saying. Well, maybe not. They're moving into contest.
Okay. I want to do this.
Amp damage out. Sam H still looking for people, and yeah, they're not going to be able to get that tower. They pulled the creep wave through.
Yeah, it's good. It's a really good thing to keep that tower alive. Like, I thought they might sack it because they committed so much on the side of Faceless to being able to take it down. But I think as soon as they saw Black farming top, it's like there's not a huge chance that he TPs unless a real fight breaks out. And it's going to take some damage, but the Chaotic Offering is going to be going down here in a second anyway. Oh, it looks like Cuckoo actually got the last hit too, so he's pretty much got his relic almost. You know, he's making his way back into the game after a not so great laning phase. And this is, you know, you were talking back a little bit ago about what a Faceless need to do. A lot of it is the map control is super important. Like that, every minute that these tier 1s are alive on the side of TnC is a blessing, which is why they commit so many heroes to defending it, because they understand if we have more of the map to work with, we can continue to be efficient with our farm. And if we can do that, we can make sure that Cuckoo hits that timing.
Well, and you know, I was talking up a lot Faceless and how good this team is and has looked, but it's also worth noting TnC, they haven't played an official in a month, but they have a lineup that's played together a lot, as Black is going to go in onto Teehee, excuse me, and they find the kill. But it's a lineup that's played together a lot, and Teehee, the guy who did just go down, was one of the founding members of TnC previously, so we find another catch on the Morph lane, but great way to find the kill. So they're a lot of strong players, and I think a lot of people are just ready to count TnC out because they lost Jimmy, because they lost AU to Fnatic. But I still think they're going to be a strong force to be reckoned with in these qualifiers.
I mean, they've done a really good job at stopping the bleeding. You know, they're not getting any more heroes picked off. I mean, sure, they ended up losing a tier 1 in the safe lane and the top lane, but you know, we kind of expected just from the hero selection that the Venge Silencer combination of supports just don't really do that much during the laning phase. It's later on when I think they really start to become more of an issue, when things like Swap are available, Global Silence for counter engage, or even just making your own engagement that much stronger. So I think, you know, their power spike, it's still going to be there. And Cuckoo has his Radiance and Armlet at less than 15 minutes in, so he's on point.
Feels like an important instance right here. Ravage is available, drops it on to 3. Oh my god, it's a lot of damage being dealt. Black turning on to Cast, trying to TP out. You're not going to get that one though, and Sam H so close to, well, not even really to Blink Dagger. Cuckoo is probably going to go down here as well. Man, Black is a force to be reckoned with already. Shadow Blade online, and triple kill for him at 15 minutes.
Okay, that was very optimistic. I understand where TnC are coming from, wanting to defend their stack. They're like, alright, this is like a 4 stack of Ancients. If we just give this away, it's a pretty big economical loss. The problem is, if you lose the ensuing fight for the Ancients that hard, you lose the Ancients, you lose the fight, and you lose a tower. So it's the risk versus reward factor that's not really just there, and Black is just going ham right now.
Oh man, that is really a problem. All of those stacks were depleted, but he still does a ton of damage. And another quick thing, I mentioned Teehee, he has just recently switched over to the support role, so maybe feeling not quite comfortable in that. It's certainly showing here, as I believe that he's died the most out of everybody in the game, 0-5. It has been a rough one for that Silencer.
Yeah, you don't want to play Silencer against Slark. It's like the worst thing in the entire world. I would say that anybody who plays support Silencer can tell you that, but his global was not really on point either. Like when they went on the Tidehunter, it's obviously very hard to time a global for when Kraken goes off because you have no idea when it's going to go off. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
But after the Ravage, he shouldn't be hit by the stun.
Yeah.
He should always be able to global immediately after the Ravage because there's no reason for him to be close to the fight in the first place. So maybe, like you said, it's just him not feeling totally comfortable on the role, or he's not as familiar with the hero, but he needs to be very, very precise with his global timing if they want to have any chance of winning fights.
And Tidehunter now just clearing through that other stack of Ancients. It's worth noting Cuckoo on his Alchemist has gotten a lot of farm, and as you said, the Radiant's up at a decent time, but Black is... Ooh, he thought about that initiation, decides to go a different route. But yeah, Tidehunter already has that hood online, goes for the Blink Dagger instead of the mech. Do you like this answer for him, going this route?
I think it's all right. I mean, I always like Blink Dagger on Tidehunter for obvious reasons, but I think in a lot of games you get the mech when you feel like you need it for the 5-man. But it could be that Faceless feels so confident in their ability to take fights that having a mech probably isn't conducive to them winning a fight. It's more just about they can already win, just having the blink puts more pressure on TnC. And also makes it a lot harder to global against the Tidehunter because he can blink out of a smoke, he can blink from, you know, fog or whatever if they have wards. He can make all kinds of very difficult to anticipate plays against a hero that's mostly built around reactionary plays.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I just noticed as well is that on the Ogre, he actually picked up the Buckler. So it looks like because XY had such a good early start that we were talking about earlier, they've decided to give it to him and, like you said, you know, wait a little while longer until they would get the mech online. So really interesting look to this game, and now even thinking about going for high ground. I mean, they've got the Tinker spamming out March. It's hard for TnC to answer.
Yeah, rockets are going to be a nuisance as well. I assume it's going to be like the standard Ether into Aghanim's build as well from the Tinker. And then because you're going to have that like consistent high ground vision, you can just like rocket their whole team pretty much. And you force them off the tower, you get free chip damage on the tier 3s. It's going to be a very hard thing to deal with.
Up in the top lane, Jabs controlled for the moment, actually almost brought down the Morph lane, but the rotation in, able to get the Ravage counterplay, and Sam H, you are probably going to die, mister. They were able to escape with the Morph lane, but only just.
Yeah, it's nice that they managed to get the Morph out though, because he didn't have enough money for his Lincoln, so it would have been unfortunate to die in that situation. But it's still pretty much all Faceless all the time right now. They are more or less dominating this game. I mean, all the towers right now from Faceless are alive. Like, not a tower has been all of them are above half HP as well. Like that's just a crushing in the laning phase.
Well, and the other thing that's... Oh my god, that's a lot of damage. They are going to stun Jabs.
He might get the kill.
Oh, they have a Blink Dagger. Well, no, they don't. Yeah, he's going to end up being in trouble. No more mana for rearm. Jabs getting ran down, and his only hope is to try and get him blocked by creeps, but turns around and Alchemist found the kill. Good reaction there by Cuckoo.
Yeah, he realized that he had no mana, really. As soon as he knows that he can't rearm, it's just, I'm going to walk at you until you die, because you can't really TP out. That was a very, very nice play.
Oh, and we're taking a look at it now, 7,500.
Oh, this is really good from TnC.
You like this play?
This is a really good play. I mean, it makes sense on paper when you think about it that a team with a Slardar is always going to be able to take Roche. Oh my god, Ice. He freaking knows, man.
On top of it. Oh, and bashed by Roche, cast! No! Say it ain't so. He's going to go down and, well, maybe. Yep, there's the kill.
Dude, that was such a nice idea from TnC, and they just gave like a half-health Roche and waited. Oh my god, I can't actually have gone any worse.
Well,
they didn't even look. There's not even any vision on the side of Faceless where they went in and smoked.
Yeah.
So that was just pure.
There's no vision on that side of the map.
It was just pure game sense. Ice is like, they have no vision anywhere. They see a core showing on the map, and they're like, they're Roshing, and he just goes there. Like, what a god, honestly. You know, we're giving him all this credit. It could just be that he was blinking down there because it's the fastest path to bottom lane where he wanted to farm.
That's
probably what he did. Nah, I'm sure he actually probably knew that it was going on. But yeah, it was a nice try from TnC. It's one of the better ways to get back into the game. Because a lot of these teams fall into not a false sense of security, but they get very confident. They're like, yeah, okay, they're in the base. You know, they're not doing anything on the map, but this ain't no pub Dota. TnC were trying to make a move, and they get called on it. And because of it, they now have to deal with Black having an Aegis.
I mean, this to me feels again like one of those teams that is just not making mistakes in this stage. I haven't seen a play from Faceless so far this game where I've been like, oh, that was not really the best. Like there are a couple of those in the Fnatic where there's like a little bit of rust on them slightly.
Yeah.
This just looks very collected and on top of it from them.
Yeah, they feel a lot more polished in the game we saw earlier.
Definitely. Well, 4-13 is the score, and it has still been an Alchemist farming away fairly consistently. What's the route for them to actually be able to? Oh man, is he gonna die? Gets the bounty rune, but yeah, that was never meant to be.
If he had Chemical Rage, I think he might have been able to actually get away from that. I mean, you can't Manta Pounce, for example, but if he has the Chemical Rage, he might be able to toggle Manta for the confusion after the Pounce ends and maybe try to get away, but yeah. Without it, he's just going to go splat. Every time he dies, it's a huge blow to TnC. Because he needs his Octarine, he needs like the... I don't know if he goes Shivas or AC, either one is really good. Maybe AC just because he needs the extra armor. And dear God, man, this Slardar... We talked about how important his blink is, and he still doesn't have it. Like, it's 23 minutes in.
They have made a pretty concerted effort to shut him down, and it's worked out a great effect. He's still... I mean, one good team fight and he'll get it, but the question is, how do you win a team fight if you don't have a blink on Slardar? You have to sprint into them, which is just suicidal at best, with the Tinker spamming out laser and missiles. It doesn't really feel like they have a great way back into this. It's going to be a hard game for TnC.
This got to be like the least impactful Slardar I've seen in a long time. I mean, usually at some point, a Slardar gets involved in a team fight where there are kills, and then he's able to get a Blink Dagger because of those kills, like you were kind of talking about earlier. But because of the way that, you know, Faceless have been playing in their lineup, if they start 5-manning, there is no way Sam H is getting a casual walk-in crush. It just ain't happening. Like, he's going to get ravaged or hit by a golem or stunned by the ogre. There's just so many things that, you know, Faceless can do to stop him from going in if he just doesn't have that mobility item.
Absolutely. Well, and Morphling How did have to go back for the Dragonlance, thinking he wasn't going to be able to get into the pipe. Also, they do already have, you know, the makings of what could eventually be a pipe on Tidehunter. So, yeah, it's a rough one. Top lane, I mean, the Morphling, is that something that you need to start being worried about at some point for Faceless? Like, is it just another couple of items before they really need to worry about it?
I mean, the Morph is going to become powerful, but there's a weird dynamic in this game where you're Morphling versus Slark. In teamfights, these heroes just ignore each other because they're too annoying to kill. Like, Black doesn't want to go on the Morphling, and the Morphling doesn't want to go on Black because he can just Shadow Dance the E-Blade combo, do no damage. He can pounce it because the projectiles are disjointable. It's a very hard target for him to kill. So what happens is, both the cores just run at the supports because they're like, hey, 3 kills. All I have to do is jump on you and you're dead. I think at this point, Black is going to have a much easier time accomplishing that because he just simply has more farm and he has an Aegis. So the Silencer and the Venge are going to end up being food. The Warlock and maybe the Ogre to a lesser degree are going to pretty much be in the same position.
God, and just look at Black. I mean, bold as brass, very confident in his play, and with Bloodlust on him, everything else, they're just literally going to hit the tower down. And I don't see a great way for TnC to stop this. They can send in illusions, but I mean, that's not really going to do all that much either.
Yeah, they actually have a reasonable amount of sustain, having the mech on the Ogre. And I think Ice, yeah, he is going to finish up the pipe after the Shiva's cards, so they are going to have more than enough sustain here, I think.
All right, ramping up the stun, they'll throw it out, hit on the Ice, but fine and dandy. They're more than happy to continue this. Even the little urn, Warlock is built into an urn and a Hand of Midas for himself. Like, God, this is such a strong... It's weird, you don't normally think about like a high ground, a Slark being part of a strong high grounding team, but it does kind of feel like it with the way they've itemized.
Yeah, it's not really about the Slark though that makes him strong at high grounding. It could be any hero, and it would still be reasonable. Mainly because they just have really strong frontline. So there's a lot of ways to kill buildings when you're talking about tier 3s. One is just having an insane amount of damage. So like, you know, you think a stacked Lone Druid with a Bear and having Demolished does a lot of damage to towers. Sven with God Strength does a lot of damage to towers. They're in and they're out. They get the tower and they leave. They don't spend much time. But if you're snowballing so hard and you have all of these defensive items, you can just sit there and tank the damn tower. It doesn't matter. because they can never initiate on Ice Ice Ice. They have that kind of team fight presence and tankiness that just, your tower might not die super fast, but it's going to eventually die because you can never go in. They've just taken a different path to being able to siege high ground than what a lot of teams like to do.
Well, and I mean, you look at it now as well, 12,000 net worth, and the lead is going to continue to grow. Their vision is completely hemmed in at this point. They have one ward that's up here towards the secret shop, which will be able to spot a few things, but really, I mean, every time TnC leave their base, Faceless know about it and can react accordingly. It's looking like, again, Morphlane heads up towards the top, and they move in towards bottom, start pushing it in.
Yeah, this is it's getting down to the wire here for TnC. They do not have much time left. I mean, they really want Cuckoo to get that Octarine because it gives him a large boost in survivability, and it also allows him to keep those Manta Illusions up in his Chemical Rage more or less all the time. And when that happens, they can, you know, start deep-pushing waves, maybe forcing Faceless to go somewhere else. Unfortunately, they are playing against a Tinker, so Tinker can pretty much be anywhere he needs to be at any given time.
Well, Sam H. Wraparound does have that Blink Dagger. Blink Crush is going to be dark, packed it off immediately, and well, they're just going to turn and hit the tower. They don't even care.
That was, they just blew their load, and they did nothing.
My God.
They just did nothing at all.
Global down.
They didn't even mech. Like, he didn't even use his mech. He's just sitting there with it off cooldown. He's like, yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Jeez. Well, talk about confidence. Faceless, after winning their first game, still feeling very, very strong now. And, I mean, maybe they set their sights up top to try and deal with the Morphling. He took a tier 2 tower in the meantime. It's not inconsequential completely, right?
I mean, it's not inconsequential for him. But for the rest of his team, it is. Like, okay, you took a tier 2, we just lost part of our base. I mean, it's a sacrifice that was necessary because there was no way they were going to be able to fight that. Now that the E-Blade's available, you know, maybe if Redor had that a little bit earlier, it would have been enough to be able to stop the push. And forget Aghanims, Jab just goes straight Hex.
Oh man, Aether Hex, long range initiation with this. And I mean, it's a great item, great to deal with them. And they're throwing out the illusions. Sam H hexed up, Rot down, Ravage onto 2, Ice Ice Ice, destroyed him. Follow up, Chaotic Offering. Oh, Cast, you're in trouble as well. Everybody dropping from TnC, and Faceless just stomped on their dreams. My God.
Yeah, that was, guys, I got my E-Blade. I'm dead.
Oh my God, and the meme is going to be real as Cuckoo is getting ready to drop. Another Hex dropped out on top of him, and, well, 5 heroes gone again.
That's got to be game. I don't see any way that they can come back from that.
That is a lot of damage. 30 minutes into it, 2 sets of racks. Did they pop mech that time? All right, they did.
Yeah. They did enough to warrant one of the supports using an item.
They didn't pop pipe though, so Ice 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 still holding on to that one just in case.
No, I think he popped it at the very beginning of the push when the creep wave was there.
Okay.
And it just came up like after the fight was kind of winding down. But yeah. I mean, what can you really say? That like TnC's draft, their supports just didn't do anything. Like they did nothing. I think they killed Ice 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 once.
Right.
And that was the entirety of their early game. And then you have this Warlock who's like pulling and getting EXP. Sam H didn't have a Blink Dagger until 25+ minutes into the game. Like, no hero did well in this game on TnC except for Cuckoo.
Oh, and they dropped the E-Blade combo. Don't find a kill. Still hitting away. This is going to be mega creeps. And TnC, you know, it's a valiant effort staying in the game. Never give up, never surrender. But GG is finally called. And Faceless looking strong.
Yeah, they really did look very convincing this game. Very few mistakes, if any, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like they had a pretty strong draft. Even going back to the draft, why did they pick Venge? Like, what was... I'm not asking in a derogatory way. I'm just like, what about the hero made them think that it was good at that point in time? Because I just don't know.
Yeah, it seems maybe they were trying to feed into that, you know, minus armor strategy. It was weird too because it was the 3rd pick, so there wasn't anything, like, they picked it expecting that they were going to be able to get the Morphling, I guess, and that's the idea.
But the Morphling and the Venge don't really even have any... I mean, sure, it's a hero with base damage, which is nice because Vengeful Aura affects base damage. So heroes like Tiny and Morph benefit from it a great deal because they do scale off of pure agility. But outside of that, it's like, all right, it's Avenge. You have an Alk mid, and he's not really going to be skilling stun. I think actually Kuku ended up getting like 1 value point early, but like that game actually should have been worse for them because that Invis rune on SamH got him a kill they normally would never get.
Right.
And they still just got completely slaughtered. Like, I think their draft was fairly weak, mostly just because of the support picks, and the only way they would win is if Sam H went ham, and he did not. The H did not stand for ham.
Okay, Sam Ham. Well, we'll see if Sam Ham is going to be able to make it happen in the next round. Maybe he'll be able to live up to his namesake. Again, I've been Lyrical, Draskell as well. We're going to be moving on and continue our coverage of the Southeast Asian regional qualifiers, but Faceless 2-0 right off the gate, and we'll see if they can continue the momentum. Thanks again for watching, and stick around. More great Dota 2 to come.